If you please write on top of this piece of paper the word factors. If you remember back, I think when we talked about multiplication problems, if we have 6 times 7 is 42, we know that the answer to a multiplication problem we call a product. And the two things we multiply together are called the factors. Those are called factors. And what your grade book is going to ask you is it's going to give you a number. Here's our example. It will say to list all factors of 10. So what they are asking you is to give all the different ways you can get 10 when you multiply two numbers together. Okay? In which case, you would write this on your paper. You would go 10, the factors of 10 would be, and here's my strong encouragement to you. Please write them down in pairs, because if you don't, you will start to forget some or miss some, and I'll show you what I mean in a minute. But I know that 1 times 10 gives me 10, and I also know that 2 times 5 gives me 10. And when I read the answers, I'm going to read them in order from smallest to biggest, so when you write them down, if you could notice I put the 1 and I skipped the big space in the 10 so I could put the smaller ones in between it, you are going to want to write that down that way as well, just because I don't want to spend forever trying to go over a whole bunch of things there. Now, like I said, that was a relatively easy one. Some numbers don't have many factors at all. For example, 5. The only factors 5 have are 1 times 5. Every number has at least 2 factors, and those 2 factors would be 1 in itself. I guess there is one number that doesn't have 2 factors, and that would be the number 1. No, 0 has infinite amount of factors. Why? Because if you multiply 0 times anything, you get 0. But 1 only has 1 factor, and that's itself. Now, let's look at a difficult one. Let's say the number 24. There are lots of factors to 24, and this is again what I would like you to get in the habit of doing. You want to write down 1, and what times 1 gives you 24? 24. And, by the way, any even number can be cut in half, so 2 is always a factor of any even number. 2 times what is 24? What's half of 24? 12, so that's what 2 times. How about 3? Is 3 a factor of 24? 3 times 8. Is 4 a factor of 24? Yep. 4 times 6. So 24 has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 factors. 8 different factors, and they will ask you to list all of those. And one thing you want to remember is, let's write these down, notes to self. Notes to self. 2 notes. The first note is this. Every even number has a factor that is 2. Every even number has 2 that's a factor. Maybe I should have wrote it that way. You know, if I asked you to do factor 100, you know because it's even that 2 times something is going to give me 100, which would be 2 times 50. And then the second one, let's see if you can pick up on this one. Every number that ends in 0 or 5 has what? Anybody know what I'm gonna say next?
Factor of
Yeah, has 5 as a factor. Has a factor that is 5. Why? Because when you multiply numbers by 5, you either get a 0 or a 5. 5 times 6 is 30, but 5 times 7 is 35. So if I asked you to list all the factors of 35, right away you always start with 1 in itself, 1 times 35. But you know because 35 ends in a 5, that 5 times something gives you 35, which is 5 times, anybody? 5 times 7 is 35. Those would all be those factors of that. I think. How about this? One more question here. What factors of 9 are also factors of 18? And rather than you just spouting them off, what do you think the wise person would do? Write down all those factors. It won't take you very long. What are the factors of 9? 1 times 9 and 3 times 3. You only have to put 1 down. So these are all the factors of 9. What are the factors of 18? 1 times 18. Are there any other ones? 2 times 9. Are there any other ones? Jackson?
3
Times
6.
6. And then the question asked you which ones do they have in common? Which ones do they have in common? A lot of people would forget this one. They have 1 in common,
3.
they have 3 in common, and they have 9 in common. 1, 3, and 9 would be the ones they have in common. Very good, very good. Everybody's happy, everybody's happy.